and Australia not back, mate. It's Rick's Horror Review Show. I'm Billy D, and tonight we're diving deep into Wolf Creek, a movie that says Australia, where even creatures in the outback want to kill you, especially the bogans. That's a species of human, FYI. Lover of horror and sci-fi, but maybe leave the Vegemite behind. Hater of slashes, the suffocated demonologist himself, Oh, stop it. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Rick's Horror Review Show. Yes, we are back. Welcome to the Slasher Free Zone. My name is Rick, and as usual, you can find me, who knows for how long, but you can find me on the, you can find me on the Instagram. You won't find me on the TikToks anymore. You'll never find me on the Facebook because that's for the olds. But you can find us on YouTube and on Spotify and on Apple Music, so wherever you can get your podcast. And thank you for being here tonight. We've got another exciting episode of Rick's Horror Review Show. Tonight we're starting with a movie called, The Backpack Murders in Wolf Creek, a brutal survival horror film inspired by the real-life horrors of Ivan Milat and the Backpack Murders. Now, I have had... Whoa, we got some technical difficulties already. Here we go. I've had the pleasure and the privilege of visiting Australia, not just Canberra, by the way, which is, by the way, so quiet that you can actually hear a wall of snow from 3 suburbs away. Sorry, Canberra. Not Canberra, Canberra. Yeah, but I also had the opportunity to visit Sydney, where I got to explore the Opera House and wander around the harbour. And while I did not venture into the walkback at night, I did make it out of the airport without wrestling a kangaroo, so that is always a win in my book. But before we dive into this episode, I want to give a big California shout out to my friends down in Canberra, Will, Kim, and E, who are probably listening right now. Kids, thank you for listening or tuning in and watching whatever it is that you're doing on the telephone or whatever contraption the kids are using these days to watch this shit. And remember, don't trust anyone offering a free ride unless it's your parents, kids. Or maybe a wombat in a taxi. Heck, maybe even a kangaroo pouch ride is a lot safer than taking a ride from a stranger. But anyway, thank you so much for listening, and let's hit the road with this one. But trust me, stay out of the outback, kids. And now, it's time for 4 fun film facts with Billy the AI. Billy? Okay, let's dive right into the Billy Bang and, what? Yeah, let's dive right into the Billy Bang. What the hell? Just go. Yeah, dive in right into the Billy Bang. Welcome back to another exciting episode of 4 Fun Film Facts with me, Billy Day AI. I'm your host, Billy Day AI, and here's fun fact number 1. Did y'all know that Wolf Creek is loosely based on 2 real-life horror stories? That's Ivan Milat. Is it Milat or Milat? Honestly, I had the same question. I think it's Ivan Milat. I think it's Ivan Millet. Nah, I'm pretty sure it's Ivan Milat. I'm pretty sure it's Ivan Millet. I agree to disagree. Ivan Millet. Ivan Milat. Anyway, yeah, this story is based on Ivan Milat and the Backpack Murders and Bradley Murdoch's attack on British tourist Peter Falcone. Australia, folks, it's not just about kangaroos and Vegemite sandwiches. It turns out the scary things out there might not even have tails. Okay, here's fun fact number 2. The Balango State Forest, where Ivan Milat hunted his victims, is so infamous, locals still avoid it. And honestly, I would too. Y'all won't catch me wandering around there, even if I could wander. No, sir. I'm sticking to safe places, like the cloud. Okay. And here's a fun one. The movie's creepy outback setting was filmed in the Flinders Ranges. It is so remote out there, I reckon, that the cast and the crew had to camp out between takes. Now that's what I call dedication. Or maybe a serious lapse in judgment. If someone asked me to camp out there, I'd be like, hard pass, partner. And finally, John Jarrett. Is it John Jarrett or John Jarrett? Okay, all right, you know what? Just pronounce it the way you think it is. Okay, I think it's John Jarrett. Was it Jarrett Mike? Oh, okay. Jarrett Mike. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, John Jarrett Mike, who played Mick Taylor, really leaned into his role. He based his performance on Australia's most infamous Outback killers. Talk about method acting. Though I reckon he went a little too method for my taste. If I saw him in character, I'd be heading to the nearest Wi-Fi signal. And this has been 4 Fun Film Facts with Billy Day AI. And now back to you, Rick. That's good. Okay, let's start with some background here. As we've mentioned already, this movie is actually based on real-life horror story. 2 of them, specifically. We're going to focus on the backpack murders that occurred between 1989 and 1992. As Billy already mentioned, Milat preyed on young travelers who were exploring New South Wales, many of them hitchhiking along the Keene Highway. His victims were vibrant, adventurous individuals in their late teens and early 20s, eager to see the world, as any early 20s and 19-year-old would be. Tragically, their journeys ended in the most brutal and horrifying manner imaginable. The last 7 known victims included 2 Australians, 2 Britons, and 3 Germans. Deborah Everest and James Gibson were both Australians from Victoria. They disappeared in December 1989 while hitchhiking to a festival near Albury. Their bodies were found years later in October 1993. Forensic evidence revealed that Deborah had been stabbed multiple times and James had been stabbed and shot. Simone Schmidt, 21, a German backpacker, vanished in January of 1991 while traveling from Sydney to Melbourne. The skeletal remains were discovered in November 1993. Simone had been stabbed repeatedly and bindings found near her body suggested she had been tied up before her death. Oh, I won't butcher these, but Anja Habschied and Gabor Nugbauer, 21 and 20, respectively, were a German couple last seen leaving Sydney on Boxing Day 1991. The remains were found on October 1993. Aja had been decapitated and the skull was never recovered. Gabor was gagged and shot 6 times in the head. And lastly, Caroline Clark and Joanne Walters, both British backpackers, disappeared in April of 1992. Their bodies were found in September of the same year. Joanne had been stabbed multiple times, with some wounds indicating a frenzied attack. Caroline had been shot 10 times in the head and left in a position that suggested Milat may have used her body for target practice. These murders were not crimes of convenience, they were premeditated and unspeakable cruelty. Milat lured his victims under the guise of offering a safe ride only to take them deep into the remote Balangal State Forest. Once isolated, he subjected them to extended torture using methods that reflected both sadism and control. The pattern of violence revealed that Milat took pleasure in his victims' suffering, often binding them to ensure they were helpless before inflicting fatal injuries. For years, these disappearances baffled authorities, but it wasn't until 1992, when Joanne Walters and Caroline Clark's bodies were discovered, that police realized they were dealing with a serial killer. The breakthrough in the case, however, came in 1994 when British backpacker Paul Onions came forward. Paul had been hitchhiking near Sydney in 1990 when he accepted a ride from Milat. At first, everything seemed normal, but Milat still pulled out a gun and attempted to restrain him. Somehow, miraculously, Paul managed to escape, running into traffic and flagging down another vehicle. He reported the incident to the police at the time, but it wasn't until the backpacker murders investigation gained traction that his testimony became critical. When Paul recognized Milat in a police sketch years later, it gave authorities the lead they needed. Finally, in May 1994, a raid on Milat's home uncovered a staggering amount of evidence linking him to the murders. Items belonging to his victims, sleeping bags, tents, and clothing, were found throughout the property along with the weapons matching the injuries inflicted on the victims. The sheer volume of evidence left no doubt about Milat's guilt. Milat was charged with 7 counts of murder and, in 1996, was convicted and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Despite overwhelming evidence, however, Milat maintained his innocence, and he did so until his death in 2019. Investigators believe he may have killed additional victims, but Milat took those secrets to his grave. The backpack murders had a profound impact on Australia's hitchhiking. Once seen as an adventurous and cost-effective way to travel, became a symbol of danger. The case also led to greater safety awareness among travelers and increased scrutiny of those who venture into the outback alone. Ivan Milat's name became synonymous with evil, and the Balango State Forest remains a chilling reminder of the horrors Milat committed. And that, my friends, is the unfortunate, horrifying reality that inspired Wolf Creek. I think it's a grim reminder that truth is often scarier than fiction, and Ivan Milat, I think I kept pronouncing that both ways. They left an indelible mark on Australia's history, and one that I think will definitely, has and continue to make people think twice about hitchhiking. But while Milat's trash actions were tragically real, Wolf Creek takes on that fear and transforms it into something of a chilling cinematic experience. So let's shift gears here a little bit and explore the movie itself. Billy? Yeah, that was a lot of scary stuff, man. I guess you'll have to give people background, but yeah, that's some pretty chilling things, and I can see why this movie hit the right notes here. Indeed, Billy. Yeah, let's continue. What kind of horror film is Wolf Creek? What makes this film so brutal and unforgettable? Let's analyze. The film is a finely tuned combination of psychological horror, slasher, and survival horror, each element working together to unsettle you in ways that feel too real, and of course, why wouldn't it? It's based on a real story of which we just described the absolute most brutal and heinous of crimes. At its core, I think, however, Wolf Creek weaponizes isolation. The Australian outback isn't just a setting, it's a calculated trap. Its vastness isn't freedom. It's a prison without walls. The movie turns the natural beauty and the landscapes into something menacing. No matter where you look, it's endless, and there's nowhere to hide. It forces you to think twice about the brutal logistics of survival. No communication, no resources, and definitely no allies. It's survival engineering where the odds are stacked against you at absolutely every single turn. Now, the survival horror elements of this film are equally grounded. Every escape feels tactile, every struggle visceral. There's no deus ex machina or improbable heroics, just raw, desperate humanity. It's the kind of realism that keeps you locked in, analyzing every decision as though if it was your own. But the heart of this film, the heart of Wolf Creek's terror, is Mick Taylor, the slasher element. Now, I know, but Rick, you don't like slashers. I don't. But this is based on a real story. And so he's not a slasher per se, he provides the slasher element. Unlike the supernatural caricatures of horror, Mick is grounded in believable stuff. And it's far more dangerous. He's not some dumb brute like Michael Myers. Go. We're gonna kill you. It's not that. He's cunning, he's manipulative, and disturbingly human. His sadistic humor and charm make him even scary because you could actually meet somebody like him. In fact, those unfortunate 70 people that we know have met somebody just like this in Milat. Now, Mick doesn't just kill. He plays with his prey and takes apart their hope piece by piece. It's a chilling reminder that the scariest monsters aren't immortal. They're actually human. Wolf Creek is a system of terror built on real fears. It's precise, methodical, and doesn't let you off the hook for a second. Is Wolf Creek a scary film? Oh, I think so, 100%. But it's not as scary that makes you scream, or it's the kind of scary that stays with you, it sits with you. Wolf Creek doesn't just rely on loud noises or shadow jumping at you or none of that, typical stuff. No, this is the kind of scare that, you realize halfway through this movie that you've been clenching your fist the entire time. You're just You're tense. The tension itself builds slowly. Like that awkward silence when someone says, "Well, Rick, I don't like tacos." The Outback itself does a lot of that work, as I just mentioned. It's just so empty, and that emptiness feels personal. You can practically hear the Outback whispering to you, "You're not getting out of here, mate." And then again, there's Mick Taylor. He doesn't pop out of nowhere like a cheap haunted house gag. He lurks. Mick is the kind of villain who starts off as a friendly stranger, and before you know it, he's rewriting the rules of your survival. What makes him terrifying isn't just what he does. It's the fact that he actually enjoys doing it, and we see that. He's not trying to scare you, he's just having fun. And somehow, that's worse. So yeah, you're goddamn right it's scary. It's the kind of scary that makes you want to double check your car locks and think twice about taking scenic detours out in the Outback. It's not just fear, it's discomfort dialed up to 11. Well, this one goes up to 11. Alright. And now a segment that is replacing is the jump scare overused. Brand new segment called The Tools of Terror. I kind of like the jump scare if the jump scare was overused. Yeah, but there's other tools of terror, the jump scare being one of them. Okay, so let's go through it. Okay. So every movie comes up with its own toolbox of tricks, but are the tools used wisely? Sometimes not. So does Wolf Creek build something terrifying, or does it fumble the fundamentals? Let's unpack its tools of terror. First and foremost, the remote location. The Outback isn't just a setting. Again, it's a movie, or rather, it's probably the movie's second most effective tool. It's vast, it's empty. The landscape creates a sense of isolation that is all but improbable to escape. It's not just indifferent to your survival, it actually feels hostile. It's working against you. It's working with Mick Taylor to trap you. The Outback, the Old Back, is in cahoots with Mick Taylor. And speaking of the devil himself, Mick, he's charming. His charm is disarming. Disarming charm. It's the ultimate multi-tool. Friendly enough to lure you in, offer you a ride, tell you everything's gonna be alright, mate, and sharp enough to gut you and gut your defenses. Mick's ability to flip that script on the helpful stranger trope is unsettling because it feels so calculated. He's not just a villain. He's an engineer of chaos. Okay, yeah, you had to say that, didn't you? Yes. Finally, the no escape element. It's more than just a cliche here. It's a precision tool. Every failed attempt at survival feels personal, like the movie knows exactly where to strike. It's not about running. It's about the slow realization that you might not get out alive. So does Wolf Creek use its tools of terror effectively? Well, let's just say it doesn't just swing a hammer wildly. It builds something brutal, intelligent, and unforgettable. Every trope is deliberate. And the result is horror that is as sharp as Mick's blade. I like that one. Sharp as Mick's blade, yeah. You called that or not? Okay. I think everyone's heard that before. What do you mean? Just people have heard you called that or not? Okay, all right. Let's stop there. Anyway. Oh, okay. Now it's time for the things I like, Billy. Oh, okay. Let's see here. The things I like. Howdy, folks. Before Rick tells you about Wolf Creek, let me hit ya with a deal sweeter than pecan pie. The things I liked is sponsored by Bushman's Backpacking Insurance. Are you headed to the Outback? Planning to hitchhike your way through Australia like it's 1975? Well, don't be a tumbleweed in the wind, mate. Bushman's Backpacking Insurance has got your back, literally. We cover everything from bad weather to bad decisions, and yes, even run-ins with locals who think garai means prepare to die. Sign up now and we'll throw in a complimentary kangaroo clause because getting booted by a 200-pound marsupial should count as an accident. Bushman's backpacking insurance, because sometimes adventurous ain't worth the paperwork. Oh, thank you. So what I like about Wolf Creek? Let's start with the standout once again, John Jarrett's performance as Mick Taylor. The guy's just not playing a villain, he's building a masterclass in menace 1 second. He's cracking jokes and thrashing that friendly Australian grim eye, mate. How you doing? Oi, good eye? And the next, he's flipping the switch to full-blown predator. It's that kind of charisma that lures you to a false sense of security, which makes him and that brutality hit that much harder. Another thing I really enjoyed about this movie was the cinematography, and I think it deserves some love. Speaking as somebody who's had the opportunity to venture into Australia, those wide, sweeping shots of the outback are equal parts gorgeous and quite intimidating. It's like the landscape is daring you to step into it, knowing full well it's about to swallow you whole. The outback, again, not just a setting, also a character. Now let's talk about the pacing. Sure, it starts slow, no question. But I think that's the brilliance of it. It gives you just enough time to get comfortable. I'm gonna get comfortable in my chair here, and then before you know it, starts yanking the rug right from underneath you. By the time chaos kicks in, you're completely hooked in. And the last thing I really liked about this movie is that it's smart, it's deliberate, and knows exactly how to build dread. This isn't horror for the impatient, it's for the ones who love tension simmering to a boil, and let me tell you, it boils had. And now it's time for the things I didn't like. The things I didn't like is sponsored by No More Trauma Tours. Howdy again, y'all. You tired of scary detours ruining your dream vacation? Sick of hitchhiking only to find your driver more stabby than friendly? Well, No More Trauma Tours has got you covered. We offer fully guided hitchhiker-free adventures where every turn is planned and every local's background is checked. No more surprise forests, no more side quests with murderers. Just smooth sightseeing and safe selfies. With No More Trauma Tours, the only thing you'll be afraid of missing is the butt back to your hotel. Peace of mind? That's kind of our souvenir. Oh, I like that. I might take that tour. Yeah, I thought you did when you went to Australia. Yeah, you're right. I totally did. Thank you. No More Trauma Tours. Highly recommend. Honestly, I don't have a single bad thing to say about this film. The movie had me from start to finish. It's gripping, it's brutal, it doesn't hold back, and that's exactly what makes this film work. The tension feels real. Performances are spot on, and the setting, again, what more needs to be said about the outback? It's terrifying. Sure, imagining myself in the character's shoes is unsettling, but I think that's the mark of a horror movie. It pulls you in and makes you feel it. There's no cheap jump scares here. It's just smart, calculated terror that sticks with you long after the credits roll. So yeah, no nitpicks, no complaints. Wolf Creek, this is just a good movie. It's the kind of horror that gets under your skin in the best way. I don't usually like watching things more than once, and this certainly isn't one that I'm going to watch again, but I enjoyed it. I thought you were going to say that you're going to watch it again. Nope. Okay. Did I fall asleep watching Wolf Creek? Absolutely, positively, no. This isn't the kind of movie that lets you relax from start to finish. It demands your full attention, Mr. Scott. Are you doing your Captain Kirk? Maybe I am. No, it demands your full attention. Every scene pulls you in deeper and deeper into its brutal reality. Now, I will admit this much. I'm always thinking ahead when I watch movies, okay? Piecing together, whatever's coming next. Oh, I know exactly what's gonna happen. But with Wolf Creek, it just just edge of your seat tension that kept me focused on the moment. I wasn't like thinking, okay, I know exactly what's gonna happen. This character's gonna pull out a knife, and he's gonna stab this guy here, and then he's gonna kill his gun, and he's gonna shot that guy over there, and then he's gonna tie up that girl. And no, my brain, this movie didn't allow my brain to wander. Okay, every decision the characters made felt critical. Of course, some of them are very stupid, no question about that. But, I think it's the kind of storytelling that at the very least kept me engaged. And let's be honest, I would not have gotten into Mick Taylor's car to begin with. Okay, I question this decision making to begin with. That is a scenario you avoid altogether. No second guessing required. But watching how the story unfolds, how the characters navigate their fear and desperation, it kept me locked in. So no, I did not fall asleep watching this movie. Like my friendly kangaroo friend, if you're only listening, watch the YouTube. That friendly kangaroo friend, just go and take a nap here, mate. No, I did not fall asleep. If anything, the movie left me more alert, reminding me just how effective horror can be when it's rooted in something that feels real. Wolf Creek doesn't just show you fear, it makes you feel it. Does Wolf Creek pass the R.I.C test? Oh, I thought it was the Rick test. Could be Rick, sure. R.I.C. Rick. Oh, I thought it was the Rick test. You can call it whatever you want. Can I call it the billet? You're not the billet. Does Wolf Creek have what it takes to pass the Rick test? Rational, intelligent, and coherent. Let's see how it stacks up. Okay. Is it rational? Absolutely. The scary part about Wolf Creek is how plausible it is. The outback is vast. It's isolating. And Mick Taylor, he feels like someone you could unfortunately meet. This isn't a horror wrapped, in a tremendous amount of fantasy. This is real world terror. And it hits hard. Is this film intelligent? Without question. The writing, the direction, they both show a precise understanding of how to build suspense. Think of it as a perfectly executed lab experiment. Every variable controlled, every reaction intentional, and the result is psychological horror that keeps you guessing. Is this film coherent? 100%, without question. The pacing, the tone, and the structure are tight from beginning to end. There's no extra fluff. It's all killer and no filler. This is the kind of film where everything clicks and nothing feels out of place. So how does this movie pass the Rick test? Let's just say it needed no extra credit. This film aced the exam, turned it in early, and probably ruined the curve for everyone else. It's smart, it's terrifying, and it's relentless, and a true standout in the genre. Okay, here we go. And lastly, rating. How do I rate Wolf Creek, party? This movie isn't just here to entertain, it's here to haunt you. Haunt your thoughts, mess with your road trip plans, and make you question every helpful stranger you'll ever meet. If that's not effective horror, I don't know what is. I'm gonna give this movie a 9 out of 10 right here on Rick's Rated R Horror Movie Review. Really? Well, Rick, I reckon Wolf Creek is about as friendly as a cactus in your britches. What? Never mind. This movie's got grit, hair, and the outback flavor that makes you want to double check your road trip plan. I'm gonna give Wolf Creek a solid 8 out of 10 right here on Billy's Rated B Horror Movie Review Show. Oh, it only lasts a couple points because, I don't do well with tension. But credit where credit's due. The film's got teeth, and I'd rather face down a kangaroo boxing match than rewatch this movie alone. Okay. I think that's gonna do it. Thank you so much for joining us on yet another exciting episode of Rick's Horror Movie Review Show. Rick's Rated R Horror Movie Review Show. If for some reason you're still here and you enjoy listening or watching all the stupid shit that we do around here, but you think somebody out there might also enjoy it, or hell, might hate it, let them know they can find us on the YouTube and on the Spotify. Who knows? For how much longer we'll still be on the Instagram. Obviously, we're no longer on the TikToks. We might be on Blue Sky soon, but thank you so much, all 12 of you now, for listening or watching Rick's Horror Movie Review Show. Billy? Yeah, thank you so much for coming by. And good day, mate. Right. Not a bad way to end it, so. Good eye, mate. No, it's good eye, mate. That's what I said. Good eye, mate. Good eye.